All right, so we're just looking at a copy of the periodic table here. Now, the reason that we're looking at the periodic table is because when we talk about food that gets broken down into different pieces, what we're actually talking about is the chemicals that it's made of. Now, everything on Earth is made from the sorry, I lost the word there. The elements that are here in the periodic table. And you probably see some that you recognize here, like hydrogen. You know what hydrogen is. Oxygen, you know oxygen, right? Helium, we've all loved a helium balloon at some point in our life. Aluminum, right? Cans are made from aluminum. And like I said, it looks very complicated, but there are actually for middle school, we just divide it into three main parts. Here's sodium. Now, the reason that we're looking at the periodic table is because when we talk about photosynthesis, we kind of need to know what we're dealing with as how plants make their food. So let's just start with the basics, right? Here's a human being. Now, what does a human need to be able to breathe to survive? They need oxygen. Where does that oxygen come from, though? It's in our air, right? It's in our atmosphere. Actually, our atmosphere is not mainly oxygen, it's mainly nitrogen, but there is oxygen in the air and we breathe it in. Now, when we're done processing that oxygen, what do? We breathe it out. And where does it go? Well, plants don't actually breathe in oxygen. Luckily, they breathe the opposite. They take in what we breathe out and they take that carbon dioxide as their air. They breathe that in, and what they breathe out is oxygen. So they don't need oxygen, they need carbon dioxide. And we don't need carbon dioxide, we need oxygen. So this cycle is what keeps us going on planet Earth, that we have things that make oxygen and things that make carbon dioxide, and they exchange those gases. And this process that plants use to take in the take in the carbon dioxide and make their food is called photosynthesis. Okay, photosynthesis. Photo, this prefix photo actually means light. When you take a photo, you're basically capturing the light. And then synthesis is taking parts of other things and making something new. So let's take a look at this picture right here. We have our carbon dioxide. The plant is breathing it in. Now, it doesn't need the oxygen, so it breathes it out. And what are the other two essential pieces of photosynthesis? The sun is one, and the water is the other. Now, how do we write water as a chemical compound? Does anybody know? I'll give you a hint. It starts with H, which is hydrogen, two, which means two hydrogens, and then O is for oxygen, so that is H2O. And that is another name for water. So you can go home tonight and ask your parents, do you know what H2O is? And see if they know that that means water. Almost everybody does, so they probably will. It's slightly more complicated than this, though, because there are pieces of the plant inside called chlorophyll or chloroplast. This is a chloroplast, and it actually makes the chlorophyll. And chloroplasts are green. So that is what makes the plant green, is the chlorophyll inside the chloroplast. Now, when chloroplasts come into contact with light, they get really excited and they start moving around so they can absorb as much as possible. And I'd like to show you an image of that right now. All right, great. So here we are over in YouTube, and we've got lots of different images that are showing us the chloroplasts. They look like little green coins kind of stacked on top of each other, as you can see. Now, we don't have a microscope, pardon. So we're not able to see this in our classrooms, but luckily through the magic of YouTube, we can watch it happen right here. we've got chloroplasts that are moving around because they become in contact with sunlight. And you see how they're just like little coins. Sometimes they become stacked on top of each other. You can see in different places. And I encourage you to look around in YouTube and see what you can find on chloroplast. See what you can learn about it. Sometimes it's called cytoplasmic streaming, because that's when the chloroplasts start moving around inside. So that's another word you can look for. And you can see it here too. Now, this is an Elodia. This is a type of plant that you'll see in the water, and it's very, very easy to see the cells. These cells are just like little rooms, and that's what all plants are made of. They're made of plant cells, okay? So it's important to know about the chloroplasts because they are a huge part in how this plant makes food. Now, again, can you remember the three things that a plant needs to make food? Number one, number two, number three. Let's hear it. All right, good, good. The first one is probably going to be the sun. Okay, second, what do we got? All right, water, which is also called what? H2O, very good. And then the third is what they breathe. What is that called? Good, carbon dioxide. And we carbon die, like the beginning of this word here, die, this prefix actually means two. So carbon and then dioxide means two carbons. Okay, great, good job. So we're going to do a quick CER now, and then tomorrow we will finish our notes on plant energy and photosynthesis.